I'm now going to talk a little bit about this CB radio, which I've got on the workbench. It's a nice little radio, very small, as you can see from the standard coffin microphone alongside it. This is a Danita radio. I quite like these modern CBs. Well, I say modern, they're not all that modern, but we had the old 2781s, which they churned out in thousands and thousands of them, and it was more quantity than quality, I think. Whereas the later radios that came out with a different spec in later years weren't churned out in such a huge quantity, and they seem to be better quality. And the PCB boards, when you look at them, I always say about some of them, I won't mention the makes, but certain ones, when you open them and look at the PCB, it looks as though the components have been fired at the board with a shotgun, not assembled in any precision way, with the capacitors and resistors leaning at all kinds of angles. Anyway, this is a little Danita, and I've spent a little bit of time on it, cleaning it up. Oh, just when you want a bit of peace and quiet, the local helicopter's going over. Listen to that. If it's not seagulls, it's helicopters. So, right, we're going to have a look at this now. I've been through it, I've done the alignment and twiddling and tweaking, so I'm just going to go through the figures now, so you can see exactly what I ended up with. It wasn't far out anyway with the adjustments. The only adjustment that did make a real difference was the power setting. It was only putting out about 3 watts, and when I tweaked it and optimised the trimmers, it finished up with about 6 watts. Well, then I had to turn it down a bit. Okay, so let's have a look what we're getting from this radio. Let's key up the transmitter and see what the power settings are. And there we are. There's your power. Pretty much bang on 4 watts. So that's the power. Now we'll see about the frequency. We're operating on channel 20, so that should be 27.79125. Right, let's have a look at the frequency then. It should be 27.79125. I know this frequency counter is very accurate, because I do have an off-air frequency standard which I calibrated against from time to time. So let's just have a look now. There we are, 27.79116. Well, that is very good indeed. Anything after the decimal is not really worth worrying about, because that will change with time and temperature. But that's pretty close, 27.79116. And so the frequency is pretty much smack on. So the next little thing that we're interested in is the deviation, the modulation, and we're looking at the 0 to 3 kilohertz deviation scale on the modulation meter, and there's a little black upward facing arrow about 3/4 of the way across the meter at the bottom there, and that is where it should be, round about there. That will be pretty much perfect deviation and modulation. So let's give that a little check now. One, two, three, four, five. Hello. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hello. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hello. And that confirms that the modulation is pretty much back on. You can't fault that. Deviation perfect. Let's check the sensitivity of the receiver side now. We've done all the transmitter tests. Everything transmitter wise is well within spec, pretty much bang on. So let's have a look at the receiver. Now the receive we talked about is the synod level, and there is the meter lined up exactly with the 12 dB synod on the synod meter, just bouncing around there. So there's your 12 dB synod, and we look at the signal generator now to see what the output is to give us 12 dB synod. And there's a signal generator attenuator, 110, what is it, 7, 8, 118. Minus 118. Minus 118 dBs on the SIG Jenny. If you want that in microvolts, you can look it up on the chart. Minus 118.28 of a microvolt. So that is again remarkably good. I'll switch it off now. Switch that noise off. So there we are, there's the sensitivity. There's nothing more we can say about it really. It's been a nice radio to work on. It's been a real pleasure. Very tiny, very compact, but remarkably good performance. Not much on the front, as you can see. You've got your volume and squelch and channel up down buttons, and that's it. And of course a little digital display to say what channel you're on. It's got the usual CB and PA switch and a channel 9 switch, neither of which are very interesting to me, but that's it. I had a few problems working on this. One very annoying thing was that I think they got carried away with the glue gun when they built this. So although the loudspeaker inside was screwed in the usual way with the little clamps, they'd also glued it in, and therefore when I attempted to remove the loudspeaker to do a few little tweaks and twiddles and clean the cabinet up, it got badly damaged, and so I finished up putting a brand new loudspeaker on it, and at the same time of course a brand new microphone. The power cord on the back is not one on a plug, it's actually wired direct into the radio, and that was another little problem. It had been cut and taped and joined up so many times over the years for people wanting it different lengths, that when I first connected it up I was only getting 2 watts out, and that was because of all the tape joints in the power lead. So the power lead has been replaced completely with a brand new power lead wired internally, and the whole thing is now very much like new with the spec and everything about it. You can't fault it. Love this little radio, but like so many of the radios that I get, I just don't have the space to store them. I'm very limited for storage. So sadly, now I've had the pleasure of tweaking and twiddling it and testing it out, it's going to have to go. Thank you for watching.